Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play as karmic themes to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. Now, anything of any importance or relevance, including the word of the video, which you will need if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, will be in the description box. My coaching link is also there. So for those of you that have asked me about shadow coaching, life coaching, psychic development, and there's also finding your soul's purpose. It's an all-inclusive coaching program. I do focus first on shadow healing, and there's a lot of different healing modalities that you get introduced to in my coaching program, and that's to help you recondition the effects of trauma. So again, it's an all-inclusive coaching program. If you're interested, all you need to do is fill out the link and someone will contact you from my team to talk to you about the coaching. And yes, I am the only person that does the coaching. I just do not handle the sales part of it. I don't do the signups just because I like to stick straight to the creative part. All right. Now, again, everything of any importance or relevance to me you'll find in the description box, including the word of the video. Now, the word of the video is always on the first card that I pull out, the underlining energy that tells us why everyone's doing what they're doing. Very important when you're dealing with people that create, facades, create illusions, manipulate, gaslight. Again, people that are vibing at a very low vibrational consciousness, which is usually our past life karmic mates, people that come into our lives to teach us. All soulmates teach us, but it's those karmic mates, those past life karmic mates, that there are really a lot of negative karmic consequences that come with the connection. It's like when you see those karmic contracts where you have a lot of codependency. One parent may be an alcoholic, the other parent is overstimulated and ridden with anxiety all the time. And it creates, again, this cognitive dissonance between both parties. It's not that there isn't love there, it's that there's also a lot of pain, there's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of anger and resentment, which obviously is the opposite of love. So whenever we're holding on to a cognitive dissonance, we're actually out of alignment with the laws of the universe. And the laws of the universe are in alignment with the laws of God, the laws of love, the laws of nature. Again, they're all the same thing. And it's that we need to be in alignment with these energies in order to really be abundant, to attract love into our life. And anything that's in alignment with abundance, right? So your financial security is also going to be affected if you are out of alignment. All right. Now let's see what the word of the video is. I'm using my deck, the Laura Schwam deck, and it's the Healing the Effects of Psychic Trauma deck. And as you can see it, I love the colors. My favorite color is purple. It's always been purple. No, we didn't really see the pictures because the cards are going all the opposite ways, as you can see, but you can see structured, virtue, like the words are a lot different. Tactlessness. They're all, again, psychological aspects of ourselves. They're all psychological terms, an emotional term. All right. And by the way, this deck comes with a workbook that has over 120 different shadow healing exercises, inner child healing exercises. It helps you, again, develop your psychic abilities, and it helps you do your shadow healing because it will allow you a tool to use to go deeper into your meditation and reflection practices. All right, let's see what the word of the video is. It is needy, emotionally needy. No, the irony, Scorpio, I kind of feel like at one time you were needy. At one time, you didn't trust yourself. You weren't strong. And you had a lot of misperceptions about yourself because no one's born needy. No one's born feeling, I don't have enough. What winds up happening is that we're born into families, we're born into environments that teach us that we don't have enough, that we're not enough, that we're not good enough. And we begin to live from that level of consciousness, which makes us perceive that again we need something outside of ourselves to be whole. This is codependency is also a family and ancestral trauma that are passed down. And what happens really is due to our society that set that dynamic up when before women's lib, but before women had the same rights, women had to become dependent on their spouses. Now those rules don't really apply. Everybody goes off and works, men, women, whether you want to be a man, whether you want to be a woman. Like there are no rules. There are really the limitations of society had put that on to many of our parents and how women were supposed to be, how men were supposed to be. And it was all really imbalanced. And if you went against those perceptions of what was right and what was wrong, well, then you were seen as bad. Or if you saw that you couldn't really depict and embody that a particular character trait, and the character trait of a man would be, you're supposed to be the breadwinner. You're supposed to be that person that takes care of everything. But maybe that man has problems making money. So now they begin to look at their life as if there's something missing, something wrong with them. So they look for someone that they perceive is going to be emotionally supportive of their needs, but also financially supportive, more so in carrying them because of their limiting beliefs. So a lot of times we see this within the past generations where women stayed with men because of a lack of financial security. So again, but needy is also psychologically when we live these same spiritual blocks over and over and over and over again, because we're living from a consciousness of not trusting and believing in ourselves, not showing up for ourselves, because the habits and behaviorisms are going to be in alignment with the core beliefs. And the core beliefs is that whoever you're connected to, also, by the way, because you're a mirror of what comes into your life, but at one time you held this energy, and I believe you met someone when you were actually in that energy. Now you might said, well, I always had friends. Well, it doesn't mean that you didn't mix up what you did. You weren't codependent on one person, but needy means that you always need something outside of yourself to sustain your emotional stability, your psychological stability, how you perceive yourself. That's going to be like no one wants to see themselves as a failure. So sometimes people position themselves around certain people to make themselves appear better than they actually are because they want people to identify. So it's needy just means needing something outside oneself in order to feel whole, in order to feel complete, which we're all born whole. The shadows, the spiritual blocks, give us the perception that we're not. And the environments that we grow up in and the people that we're around are what cements and solidifies that core belief of not having enough, not good enough, needing something. But I feel like you're not in that same energy anymore, Scorpio, that you're someone I'm very strong and confident in myself. Hey, it took a lot to get you there, but you're still connected to someone that's needy. And there's a sense that you have a lot of feelings for this person, but you also see that they need a lot of help. They need a lot of healing. And you're still corded to this person. And I feel like you don't really know what to do about it because you do have feelings, but you also like know that this person wouldn't be an equal partner. They wouldn't be able to give you what you need. And being connected to someone that's needy, you know you're going to give more energy than they are. And that means you're not going to be able to embody what you are here and meant to do, you know, where you want to put your time, your energy, your focus. That's the problem with being someone that's on a lower vibration. So I feel like nothing's happening. And you also know that this person's at a lower vibration because they're prideful. They're holding back. It's that they don't want to appear needy. They don't want to appear broken. Very rarely do people that have spiritual blocks want to appear defective. No, that's when the mask, people put on the mask to give the illusion that they are better than they actually are. They want to make people perceive that there's something that they don't believe that they can actually be on their own. That's why they are creating the illusion. But the problem is then the person's embodying an energy instead of living their truth. That's not living truth. We all have our own unique unfoldment process. And if you're in an environment where you're taught that you're not enough, you're not good enough, well, then before you ever even find yourself, you're going to live from the energy that you're not enough, not good enough. And the habits and behaviorisms that come from that is not really trying, is having anxiety of how things might come out, of wanting to be perceived as perfect because you are seen as inadequate, where there is no such thing as perfect because no one's going to love everything about you all the time. It's that there's only, you know, we can only be our excellence. We can only shoot for our excellence, embody our true individual energy, which is excellence. It's made to be part of the world. The universe has brought you into this world. Spirit, which is the universe, which is God, created you as part of the divine plan for the healing of the universe. Everybody holds a part because everyone's contribute to humanity is through the energy of love, through what they love to do. So I believe that you are not needy anymore because you've embodied this energy where this person that you're connected to, they're needy. They're feeling inadequate. They feel like they're not good enough. They feel like they need something. So of course, part of this connection is you're teaching them without being in their lives. Now, the irony is if you would sit there and tell this person, they wouldn't listen. But because you're in separation from them, not really knowing how to deal with them, so you're not dealing with them. You're putting the energy into yourself. But this person, I believe, is watching you and they're learning. And so when they learn, it gives them a different perception of how their life can be. Now, soulmates, a lot of times, they come into our lives to not just be in our lives to through the experience that we're going to learn. Sometimes they just come into our life for a season. A day could be a season or a lifetime. You know, we never know how long a person's going to come in, but they're insecure. And they're insecure because they keep reliving the energy of betrayal where this person has people like that they've dated kind of be that person that really ruins their life, the person that they wind up sharing their bed with. Now understand that type of betrayal happens when there's inner child wounds that have not been healed. And why this is important, you may I don't even care with this person. Well, if you're still connected to this person, that means that there's something that you need to learn. You cannot break the karmic connection, which is that energetic connection of, I feel this person's on me. I feel this person's around me. like I know this person's thinking about me, they're tugging on my energy. It's like I feel like I can't really move forward because I still have feelings for this person. That energy can't be broken until you actually learn the spiritual lesson. And so, again, if you're a magnet of who and what comes into your life, it means that there's there's similar spiritual lessons that you also needed to learn. Now, it doesn't mean that you are not learning them through embodying a different consciousness and living more your truth. But the underlining energy really is shame. But this person has shame, and you also need to clear shame. So you are doing it through the fact that you are, again, not needy. This person is not. But if you're connected to this person on an emotional level, Spirit says you actually still are. And you may say, well, how am I still? Because you wouldn't be thinking of them. You wouldn't be holding space for them. They represent passion. They represent a part of your identity that is either missing, or you feel that is broken, that you've disconnected to, that's fragmented. So you may not even understand or wonder, but it's blocking you from manifesting, is what Spirit's saying. So it's again, you feel their energy around you and they wonder, are you thinking of me too? So again, this person and you were thinking the same thing. And that's what I'm saying. As long as that energy is there, it's like you might have moved on, but your energy is still there. And they might have pretended to move on, but their energy is still there. So you're again saying, well, why aren't I moving forward? Well, holding on to that cognitive dissonance of I want it, but I don't want it, which we've had lately. But understand, you both know that the same divine energy flows in each of you, and that this energy is a catalyst to your reunion. Meaning, if it's really unconditional love, all you need to do is believe in the magic of love to bring you back. With the divine energy is love, because that divine energy is God. It's the universe. It's universal energy. We wouldn't know what it was. So again, it's depicted within our character when we evolve into the highest states of consciousness, and when we're really embodying that consciousness. However, this person, like when you met them and when you first met this person, you were not in that energy, but you both recognized that the energy of unconditional love, of which feels like, oh, you feel like home. I recognize you. You're my soulmate. You're my soul. Only you've evolved. This person really hasn't. Understand that you believe that this person will either step it up to do the right thing. Like you're leaving it open. Like I feel like in your heart, you're like, I leave it open. Like if this person can heal and do what they need to do, then I can be with them. But there's a part of you that really does want to be with them. I feel like it's just you see that they're not really capable of being in a connection with you. And because they project their patterns onto you, and then you wind up projecting your patterns onto them. And it makes it really difficult to see what is real and what is fear-based thinking, because both parties need healing still, is what Spirit's saying. But especially this person that's insecure, you know that they couldn't affect you emotionally unless there was actually a spiritual block. You're figuring that out. It's not even like you're like, oh, I want to be with this person. I know that they're going to step it up. You're open. If they do the healing, you would give them a try. You believe people can heal. However, you're not going to stop your life. But Spirit says before you move forward in your life, you have to figure out what that block is. Otherwise, you're going to think that this person you're supposed to be with. But like I'm supposed to be with them, and I'm going to really try hard. And you would go in giving way too much energy. This is a very spiritual message. Now understand, this person says, I can't validate our love in the 3D until I understand our spiritual love in the 5D. Give me time to explore this aspect so I can be a strong spiritual partner for you. So this person has only looked at life through a very logical and analytical standpoint, which is, you go to school and you're taught pretty much how to think. You're born into families that teach you how to think. You're born into societies that give you perceptions, and that determines how you think. And so a lot of times, if we're born into families that are codependent, what we perceive is like a natural way of being, where, oh, it's normal that couples can't stand each other. The old ball and chain, you've heard that before. Or it's normal that, you don't want to sleep with the person like after a certain amount of time. And it's normal, where those are all signs of fragmented relationships, which our parents many times wound up being in because they never had learned to do their shadow work, because there was no education on spiritual. It was more, you go to church, you learn through dogmatic practice, but dogmatic practice is through somebody else's perception of what really God is, where really we're always having a relationship with God through our passions. And so when we have spiritual blocks, they're going to manifest on the outer world. It's something that we've created. So like I said, this person is seeing things through a completely different perception, which means that you do things more from a spiritual perception, and you are their spiritual counterpart, where they're like, I have this very strong connection to you. I can't stop thinking about you. But they also have a lot of spiritual blocks because they're insecure, and they haven't healed. So they're like, I don't really understand it. So I feel like at first they might have thought, oh, I don't like this. I feel like it might be witchcraft. Why don't I have control over my thoughts? And understand that's very outdated thinking. Understand, I just literally saw the Salem witch trials in my head, where women were like persecuted and killed because the men couldn't stop thinking about them. They were like, oh, they're possessed. They're possessing me. They must be evil. Where this person's like, I don't trust it. You might have put a spell on me. You might have did something to me. I don't trust it. I've never felt this way before. Understand, it triggers all their insecurities, because it's like it makes them feel feelings that they haven't felt forever, because they're fragmented. Person can't live forever feeling insecure and feeling like they're not good enough, and have all these psychological and emotional blocks that have patterns, that create patterns, sabotaging patterns onto the connection. Again, these are all things that occurred from the environment. So understand, this person can't heal by looking at things through a physical perspective, because it'll always keep them limited, and it will always keep them limited in, again, the restrictions and the boundaries of the physical world, which is, you're only smart if you think this way. You're only going to be successful if you do it this way. It's not a one size fits all. It's through our own unique individuality, through our passion for life. And Spirit says, this is what this person is learning. It's not just like, they wouldn't even investigate anything spiritual. They would think it's hokey pokey. It's not real. It's because, again, they've lived more from a survival standpoint, where you may be like, well, I can validate our love in the spiritual, but I definitely like the expectations. You're like, you don't match. So I can't let you into my life. And what they're saying is, until I figure it out, what is the whole meaning of this? Like, because again, they're more from a survival perspective. What are you going to do with this energy of yours that you have over me? You're casting the spell. What are you going to make me do? They're paranoid, and they're paranoid due to, hey, look at their past relationships. Spirit brought you into this person's life to be like, hey, you need to approach your relationships differently. So we're going to make sure that you have absolutely no control. You can't strategize your way. You're just going to have to surrender, because the only way to get spiritual equilibrium, which is balance, is to surrender the ego. Separated or together, we are working in tandem with each other. This person is things like, again, how you're like questioning about, I don't know whether I like what I see, whether you can measure up to my standards, to my expectations. Well, this person is also on the other end saying, well, I don't understand this spiritual connection. I don't really like, what are you going to do to me? What does this mean? How long does it last? Like, they want it in like almost like in paperwork. If they could read a book on it, it would be good. It's like, okay, for 2 months into the relationship, I'm going to experience. It's like, and the fact that they don't know, and the fact that they are experiencing feelings that they've never really felt before, or they even volunteered to feel, is something. I've hurt you, and I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me someday and understand I was reacting in fear. Yeah, understand when a person needs this much healing and feeling such a deep connection where it's spiritual, they're going to react from their past experiences, not from what's happening now. They're acting from their core beliefs. They're acting from what they've been taught, what their life is there. But this person still desires you, which there's always passion. Otherwise, why would the person stick around, right? But Spirit says that it's at a low vibration, though. It's like, oh, the person wants to like hold you and feel you in their arms and like be with you in a physical way. So, but that's, always the catalyst. It's that passion that will actually transmute some of those spiritual blocks if this person raises their consciousness, and their actions are in alignment with that consciousness, then they might be able to experience this. Union is an energy, not a physical contract. Even when we are in together, I feel our union. This card has repeated like 4 times so far. I feel like it's like, and that's what this person is like. I've tried to walk away. I've tried to logic it. I've tried to like compare. I've tried to find things that are wrong with you. I've tried to, but Spirit said, I'm not going to allow you to logic this, because you need to learn how to deal with your relationships completely different than how you've been dealing with them. And you're not going to do that through the logical and analytical way. It's only through the spiritual minds. It's like, but they had spiritual issues, and Spirit says, well, they're going to have to heal their spiritual issues before they actually are capable of being in a good connection, but they wouldn't volunteer to do that. So Spirit is using you as the catalyst for them. And understand, it's because you guys literally have past life connections and memories, and they're resurfacing consciously or unconsciously. So this person knows that they've lost you in the past, and that there are spiritual lessons, past life karmic lessons that they need to learn in order to heal their relationships issues of being insecurity. And they're really going to need to first come to a place of spiritual equilibrium where they drop that pride. See, right now, the first response to you was projecting their negative patterns. Then it was like, well, even though like they projected, they still have feelings. So they're like separate or together. Like you're doing the same thing that I'm doing, just through a different perception. Like you want to make sure that they're a good partner for you in the physical realm, that they're going to show up for you emotionally, that they're going to be literally a partner. It's equal give and take reciprocity. And this person doesn't understand the spiritual. So again, that's the second step when they're like, well, they're working in tandem. It's like you're both are here, but it always keeps coming back to the same energy, the same energy. I feel your energy around me. Energy is a construct. Even when we're separate, I still feel you. And then obviously the passion. So this person thinking about you so much, of course they have to reflect on how they acted and really, again, that's when they're like that deja vu happens where they're like, I know that I've been with you in another life. I know that for a fact. And they have, because again, that spiritual connection is strong. But they need to learn those past life karmic lessons. Well, you both do, but they do in their insecurity and all the other codependent neediness that they need to work on themselves in order to get up to your level. So we have to say, well, then why did you attract this person into your life? Because right now that's what they're doing. We don't really see them like making their way back to you just yet. What we see is a lot of contemplation and healing and thinking, why do I have such a connection to you? And what does this connection mean? Again, they're trying to logic it, but they're not really going to be able to. It'll always come back to it's a spiritual connection. It's not logically going to make sense. So again, first card out, we look at your inner child wounds, and we say the first card out was love. The second is time and attention. The third is suppression, organized chaos, protection, confusion, unworthiness. So we see a lot of spiritual blocks here, and we end off with truth. Now, the irony is that you're still a truth speaker. So again, I feel like growing up in an environment where you really didn't feel safe. And because even though everything got done, it's not like everything didn't get done that needed to. Like you did go to school, there was food on the table. It was chaotic. So you could have grown up in an alcoholic family. You could have grown up in like a family that just didn't discuss when traumatic events happened. Again, just imbalance is for any reason. Someone could have been sick. It's not all the time conscious. It's not all the time that someone's doing drugs, but it's the fact that it's chaotic. And so being that it was chaotic, you didn't really feel safe. If anything, like there wasn't time and attention. You didn't get the time and attention. And a lot of times you felt like your needs really didn't go met. And it wasn't because I'm purposely trying to suppress you, but there were other imbalances happening. So you weren't really able to live your truth. So self-love is all about that, learning how to live your truth, learning how to be true to yourself, learning that you're not learning to reparent yourself through first and foremost giving yourself the time and attention to feel safe. And the way that we feel safe really is through getting strong within our spiritual self. And when you do that, the outside world changes. And so I believe that you've been in the process of doing that, creating support, creating that stability for yourself, reparenting yourself, living your truth. Then, because again, you were suppressed, and you were suppressed because of what was going on in the environment. And so it made you feel like, again, not good enough. It made you feel, well, sometimes you could have even, because it was so chaotic, your needs were belittled, like what you felt was important. Your parents were like, oh, please, like someone, like your father has cancer, your mother has cancer, like, and you want a birthday party, you know what I mean? So you would be belittled. Like as a child, you wouldn't understand, but because that parent didn't have the tools to deal with whatever the traumatic event could be. It could be that they were going through a divorce, that they were in a very toxic marriage themselves. And so, which again, like normally goes to like, and organized chaos is usually that, where you are growing up in a codependent connection where your needs were suppressed. So was this person, by being belittled, by believing that you're not good enough, that then you don't try. So again, to heal, you have to give yourself self-love and live your truth, which is what healed the confusion. But when you were younger, the confusion was maybe, I don't feel loved, I don't feel supported, I don't feel, where you were just not in the way that you felt that you needed, where spirit then says, no, well, you have to reparent yourself because no one's going to do that for you. Otherwise, you end up in a codependent connection. That's what would have happened. If you would have been with this person, you would have wound up in a karmic contract, held together in a karmic connection of a person that emotionally isn't going to give anything because they're so insecure that they're always waiting for you to betray them, that they most likely betray you. And it's because emotionally they just can't be there because those feelings are too deep. What we see is that they do have a spiritual block when it comes to the spiritual element of this connection. And that's just because they've never experienced anything like it before. So it has brought them into that spiritual element where spirit says in separation, soulmates, past life soulmates, and when they're not together, they do a lot of healing. It's if you would have been with this person, it would have been bad. Now, we didn't even look to really see what they did, their actions. We are going to look at that now, and we're going to then look and see what they're going to do. We didn't really see, like, again, what it was like. Again, this person's just lost. They don't really know who they are. They don't know what to do. They don't feel that they have a purpose. They don't have any direction, again, because they're stuck in their trauma. That's why they're insecure. And that's what happens when you've been betrayed and you live in survival mode. You're not creating yourself. So you will not ever release those spiritual blocks until you can integrate them with something else. Alchemy teaches us that. You have to integrate the spiritual lessons. So this person staying blocked, not coming towards you, is mainly because they couldn't see things from a spiritual perspective. They were only looking at themselves through the experiences that, you know, that they've lived and comparing themselves to that. And, you know, their core beliefs are built on those experiences, but those experiences were taught to them in a very imbalanced environment from, you know, parents that were codependent, and they were codependent not just on each other, but outside things. That's why this person is lost. It's like they never learned. So it doesn't mean that they can't get a job, but it usually means they get a job for a certain amount of time and then the job doesn't really work out or they get bored, that their life kind of looks like a roller coaster. It's because they'll try to emulate someone else and do what someone else does. But it's almost like it's not coming from the heart, right? We have to live true to ourselves. You live true to yourself. That's why you're healing. That's why what you see with this person is like you're lost. Until you can find yourself, you won't be able to be a partner to me. Again, like, and because of it, they would be dramatic, have like over the top behavior, creating drama for control, again, creating illusions, a little bit of manipulation. Because again, the fear of abandonment, the fear of not being good enough, because that is the perception, that's the reality that they're living. As long as they stay in that energy, you just are not on that energy level anymore. They stay in a place of disempowerment because of fear. Again, there's only two energies, love and fear. This person's in such a low consciousness of being insecure. Well, they just give their power away. And with this connection, they know for sure they would like get lost in you, and the damage that has been done through previous relationships with this person, because they're insecure and they play games, they have no direction, so their life is just kind of full of drama, like creates negative consequences for this person. So they just stay in this victimhood consciousness, so which eventually just leads to a lot of anger because of not believing that they could have it. So it brings them back to the trauma of needing to heal. That's what this connection is. That's what you represent to this person right now at this moment. It's like, will they do anything? Will they eventually make their way back? Well, We'll see, sometimes yes and sometimes no. I mean, right now it's not really saying, but we will pull 3 cards. It might not tell us. It just might tell us, again, more of their hidden truths of what their fears are. And that would mean that they're still in a place of healing. We see why you attracted this person into your life. You don't, for you, it's, you don't know how hard it was to let you go. And for this person too, it's like there is love there, but it's like if it's always trying to put the square peg into the circle hole, you're not gonna want it. And that's for this person too. It's like it's not that there isn't love, it's that it's difficult. But again, I want you. It's because there's that passion. And so this person is in a place of healing right now, and they wish they could share their good news with you, but like that they're doing the work, but what they're doing is they're saying, I am becoming a better person because of you. And that's again what really this soulmate connection is, and where again this person is saying, like, I'm starting to understand that spiritual connection, which remember, like they're like, I can't be with you. Well, they're starting to understand it because they're starting to do the work. That's why. And that's what you represent for this person. For you, like I said, it was more about you not just healing your own energy by living your truth, but also Spirit says you need to pull from 2 other decks to find out why else you have to experience this right now while you're in separation. Because what we see is that this person's working on themselves. They're going to come back. It just doesn't say when, and that's because they're still healing and they don't really know when. So what we have to say is transformation. You're transforming, again, turning your fears into strengths by seeing yourself as you truly are right now. And you are like learning to have unshakable faith. That is not about the support, is that you are strong within yourself. That's the transformation part. But the unshakable faith is the belief that the universe, that God is supporting you, that you're not here by mistake. You're here by God's great design plan, and that you have faith in being able to achieve that, because it's an unfoldment process. That's what it is. It's like you don't know, it's blind faith, it's a walk. And through this walk, you're trusting yourself, because again, you're trusting the fact that you're being guided and you feel supported and you have resilience and can persevere because you are on the path of the universe. So you're trusting in the fact that the universe is supporting you, and that's how you're transforming, and that's how you release control, where you're like, I do love this person, but they don't meet my expectations, and Spirit says release control. It's like your expectations. Unconditional love, there is no expectation. There is no ownership. But you're like, no, but the person needs to be, and Spirit says, release, work on yourself, transform yourself. This person's learning, they're healing. So right now, even if you weren't never going to be with this person, Spirit says you both did what each other was supposed to do for each other. Because you both are healing. You're both moving into a better energy. Now, we always have free will to choose whether we want to be with this person or not. And Spirit says, right now, it's like I said, I feel like you're creating stability in yourself, and it's not really saying, it's like you're nurturing yourself. When I say what is going to happen, I feel like this person might eventually, I feel like eventually somewhere down the road, feels like again that they could be with you, because they see that you and them would be like such a strong couple, that you would produce a lot together. It's like, it's again, to be abundant because you're abundant. But right now, they're not making a decision one way or the other. Spirit says no. It's in a plane of rest, vacation, suspended between two things. Like, again, where you're both in a place of healing. So even if you're never going to be together, it's like you both learned. This person, I believe, will make their way back. It's just not saying when. And when that happens, Spirit says, keep working on yourself, keep transforming yourself. It doesn't mean that you're not going to date other people or meet other people and do other things. It's taking you into a whole other life. This person needs to catch up. And if there's real unconditional love, they will, but right now, that's not what's happening. They're healing and they need to, so that they stop the karmic looping of the sabotaging relationships that are full of betrayal for them. Learning to love myself, and this is what's happening for you, that Spirit's saying, it's like you're learning to love yourself, and you choose to see the beauty in yourself. Your wealth lies in your nature and potential, that you're transforming your weaknesses into strengths, and that you realize that you are a being of light and you're allowing yourself to shine, which is really important because you were belittled and suppressed and made to feel like your needs weren't as important because there was something more traumatic happening within the family structure. And it could have been a divorce, it could have been sickness, it could have been anything. But really, Spirit saying you're reparenting yourself right now so that you are going to step into the highest, most authentic, truest energy so you can be a magnet of just that. I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated with this one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.